talk to my dad like tears to the air. Like the combustion of years of pain and happiness, I hurl myself against the gravity and fear, and with the grace of swans arching toward the clouds in a V, like Valentine's Day and God's the sweetheart. I try to do that when I look into his eyes at the cafe. I try to tell my dad a poem, the essence of poem, a metaphor for the moment the sun winks through the gray and the two roses blooming on the sidewalk in winter. I want to be the fragrance of his goofy smile when he laughs in his throat and shoulders at his own bad joke, and I wince because those bad jokes. I love him. Like a seal loves the sun. He's my dad. He has polio in his lungs. Most people have it in their legs and they can't walk. My dad can't breathe. He wears plastic oxygen tank cords in his nostrils and looks like a resuscitated corpse when he talks sometimes. And then it's hard to hear the sounds of his words. I hear the sports and politics and bad jokes like birds waking me up. It's a wonderful Bob Marley morning because he could die at any second. I space out in the bloodshot heaven of his tired eyes, imagining he has his breath back. And we're dancing at the gates for St. Peter, and Peter loves it. He's throwing those pop rock gunpowder things you snap on pavement when you're children, and we're dancing, but I fall through. I can't keep it up. It was 500 instead of 65. And I recall my friends asking if that huge living room tank, man, is that helium? The family has fun, someone said as he walked in. Silence took all our breath. Like when I was 10, watching him leaning on that tank, unable to sleep for a week because his sleeping mask wasn't tight enough, mumbling gibberish with his eyes shut, reaching around for the air that evaded him, swiping the felt of his favorite chair. My cat could have knocked him over, rubbing his ankle for food. Like me in college when I heard the news at the basketball game, the cops saying we found him, he was just in the wrong seats. I crouched against the concession stand and I cried. Because I've always been scared the strongest person I know is just going to fall over. So I think about him when I don't want to do something and get out of bed because his self-will could kick the shit out of mine. And he could tear the roof off a courthouse with how hard he tried for his clients as a public defender. Enough to trudge for 35 years with no breath, like the cliche about going to school in the snow when I was your age. He says corny stuff like that. He spent his whole life with polio in his lungs. His heart is the ink and the pen in my hand. His love made me a poet. His courage makes me a man.